Well, UFC 325 had the name value that was on the main event, and also, too, some bangers, or we thought they were going to be bangers, ended up being some good fights. This is my boy Angelo at We Want Picks and Bad Takes. Look at that smile. Look at those beautiful dimples. I love you. Got the dimples, man. I have them too. Mine are a little longer, though. As I get older, they start to stretch.
Yeah, those aren't dimples. Those are jowls.
Well, whatever. I figured some guy from Connecticut with the, would know these kind of things, right? Useless facts that people would know.
That was an insult.
It's all right. I didn't care. All right, look, UFC 325. It was there was a lot of hiccups last night. Did you have any problems with your app? That's the first thing I want to start off with.
I had just like the random scrambling every now and then, but like not. I saw some people losing their minds online.
No.
But the stream loaded instantly, and randomly I'd have like it would be like a little scrambly. I had no buffering issues. The stream loaded, and they fixed all the ads. Last week, everybody complained there's too many ads, no walkouts, no corner. It's a mess. They didn't do that. We saw 90% of the walkouts, most of the corner work. If they did root an ad, they did split screen. So I was totally fine with it. And that was broadcasting for the other side of planet Earth.
Yeah, that's true. That's the other thing I took into consideration is
and it was only the undercard, right? I didn't have
no main issues in the main card issue. None.
Yeah.
Not at all. So
yeah,
I don't like how when the prelims end, you've got to like get out and get back in.
No, it's funny because I was messing with it too. I'm like, where do I go? But what's cool about the Paramount app is it runs like old school TV. Like there's channels, and that was the UFC channel, and the prelims do just go to the main card automatically. You just have to wait. And it'll switch over automatically.
I didn't know that. I was like scrambling around. I was like looking for. I'm like, where is it at? Like I have to get all the way out. I exited out of my app. I came back in. Yeah, I don't know. It was like the scrambling portion of it in the prelims. It went away by the main card, so I had no issues in the main card. It was all gone. The commercials, I wasn't really. It doesn't really bother me. It just seemed like there was more of them this time. Maybe I'm wrong. Felt like there was more commercials this time around. The worst part was it's the same damn commercials. Like throw some new ones in. Give me more than just one.
Was the worst at that.
But yeah, I would agree. Exactly. But I didn't want to see the same Kevin Hart ad for Budweiser 50 times. And give me something else. Give me something else. That's all I was looking for. Let's go. Let's talk the main event. I just have a lot to say. And what I mean by that is that I picked Diego Lopez to win the fight, but I picked him to win the fight based off that he would make the adjustments that he needed to make and be have a little bit more intensity. He would not chase after him, but he would put more pressure. He'd pull the trigger more. He would realize what he did in the first fight was not getting it done. And you go back to the first fight, there was a lot of hesitation. There was a lot of waiting. There was a lot of all this that was going on in the first fight. And he made no changes. None. We saw basically rounds 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Yeah.
It was the same exact fight.
He actually lost worse.
Yeah, I would agree with you. There's no way in my mind that I think that he was going to lose worse. That was one. Two, I actually picked him to win the fight. And that's no knock on VOLK. I just thought VOLK looked tired in that first fight towards the end. And he started to slow down a little bit. And in this fight, VOLK was the faster fighter. He was throwing combinations. He looked great in rounds 4 and 5. Am I reading this wrong, Angelo, or did I feel like Diego did nothing? He did nothing different than he did from the first fight.
No, he definitely didn't change anything. I kind of figured. My breakdown of that fight leading up to it was we saw this less than a year ago. The skill gap was wide then. The skill gap will be wide now. And anybody picking Diego is just hoping and praying he lands one big shot. That's it. Like that was all anybody picking Diego was hoping for. Nobody thought Diego could out wrestle. Nobody thought he could win a decision. Nobody thought he could out volume. Nobody thought he was more technical. It literally was just, if Diego can land the big shot, and Volk's kind of old now, but he was old 10 months ago when we saw this the first time. Nothing's changed. So I am not surprised that this fight went the exact same way it did. I thought it was going to. Obviously, in the last fight, Volk got dropped in the second round. So it's like there is the chance he can get knocked out. We've seen it happen. But I saw a gun-shy Diego in the first fight and a gun-shy Diego in this fight. Yeah, he changed literally nothing. And it sucks because Diego's fun. He's exciting. Like every fight that isn't this fight, he gets after it. So I don't know if it's the 5 rounds, the fact that it's for a title, but he freezes up, and now what do you do? Like, he needs a bunch of wins now to even consider throwing him back into a title fight.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you. Unless something happens with Volk in the next 2 or 3 fights, I could see them putting him in there somewhere. Like if it was the Evloev and Evloev beats Volk, I just don't see that happening either. Evloev is not dangerous on the feet. The speed of Volkanovski, and the grappling we saw last night. Diego's the better grappler than Evloev in terms.
There was only 2 meaningful grappling exchanges, and Diego had Volk's back within 10 seconds.
Yep, he had his back, but then he got hula hooped right off. So
because he was like rushing, I only have 1 minute. Come on. But he was like, I mean, it was crazy how good he is on the ground.
Yeah, he's fantastic. But we had talked about it earlier, and I had said earlier in the week, and I had said he doesn't have the wrestling to get Volkanovski down. Think about Islam not being able to hold him down, and like he got him down, but he wasn't able to hold him down, especially in the first fight. And it was just like, wow, like Diego's not even near Islam's ability on the wrestling department. And so
how does every conversation lead back to Islam?
Well, because they fought. They fought
every conversation with you. It's crazy, dude. It's crazy.
We should talk about.
I'm like, it's cold outside. You know where it's cold? Dagestan, and that's where Islam lives.
You're fucking brutal. Yeah. You're so mad. You're brutal, bro. You're brutal. Shut up, Angelo. I love it. Look at this.
Yeah, that guy's a dweeb, huh?
It's a girl, by the way.
Amp
31481. Yeah, it's a girl, by the way.
How do you know that?
Because I know.
A little suspicious. Yeah.
A little suspicious. She's from your area. She's up in the New York area, so she fucking really hates you. So that's your old stomping ground.
We'll sit here and listen to Islam glazing for an hour. Let's do that.
Look at realistically. I was giving Volkanovski some love, and you hate the fact that I was giving him love. So I said, hey, like Volk's wrestling is so good that Diego's wrestling wasn't going to compare. He wasn't going to be able to do anything. And if Volk was able to stuff Islam's wrestling as well as his submission attempts, I figured Diego was not going to have a chance. That's exactly what we saw last night. Now, Volk got dropped in the 3rd, correct? Was it the 3rd?
No, I think it was the 2nd again. It was. I could be off, right? But it was like this was a carbon copy of the last fight, except Volk was landing the big. Yeah, no, a dude taking a mirror selfie picture with a mediocre bicep in that bathroom can definitely tell me to shit.
I love it.
100%. That dude can say it. Clown shoe.
Oh man. Get him, guys. Get him. Let him know.
The difference in this fight versus the last one is in the last fight, it felt like Volk was a little worried about getting knocked out. The dude had just been knocked out twice. And Diego Lopez clearly has power, good on the ground. You don't know what you're going to get. So it seemed like a little bit of concern. This fight, I felt like Volk's like, I felt it. I'm fine. So he got after it. He moved forward. He threw big. And thank God Diego's got the chin that he has, because there was a few exchanges where Volk landed huge. There was one, I forget the round now, but Volk just bombed. It was not quite an overhand, but not a straight right, just bombed a right. While Diego was rushing in, it landed flush, and still Diego was like, and then just kept moving forward. So Diego's tough as shit. He's not going to go anywhere. He's going to be in the top 5 for a while. He just needs at least 3 signature wins. I think you can give him one of the wins can be kind of stupid, 2 signature wins over top 5 people, and then we could talk about it again. Otherwise, it's like, dude, he's Uriah Faber. How many title shots did Uriah Faber get? Always the bridesmaid, never the bride in the UFC. And that might end up being Diego Lopez.
It's sad to think because he's so good. And this is where I think that he's kind of coming up short, is that he's gotten away from what really he's great at. That's his grappling and his jiu-jitsu. I mean, he's just all of a sudden become a stand-up guy that relies on his chin.
Do you know where he was training his wrestling? So you don't think his takedowns were very good?
I don't think they were.
Oh, that's interesting. Do you know where he was training?
But Dagestan,
Oklahoma. that you glaze Oklahoma wrestling, Oklahoma.
I don't know. Was he training there, or he has trained there before in the past? Oh, I think did we lose Ange?
There you go. I was fine. I think you
little glitchy there, Ange.
I'm good.
You're good.
I see you. Well, you froze.
I mean,
too,
you got
so
that. I don't know
which one of us froze.
Might want to upgrade your Wi-Fi, buddy.
Yeah, between the two of us, I have the technology.
I'm,
access
yeah,
for
right.
sure.
But yeah, you probably just don't spend the money on the Wi-Fi. All right, look, he is okay. I know he wrestled at Oklahoma State, or he went to Oklahoma State to get some wrestling in there. It just was, yeah. It's gonna take more than a couple months. It's gonna take more than a couple
Of
weeks
course,
to get it.
of
But
course.
bottom line is,
But also, anybody who knows anything about this, I'll include you in that, knows 80% of the takedown entries are set up by strikes. So if he was moving forward and he was bombing away and letting it go and landing big, then shooting a takedown, even if it was a shit, timing or a shit entry, you set it up. That created the openings. Now Volk's worrying about two things, but he was never worrying about two things at once, ever. The two times they ended up like in a grappling exchange, there was no striking at all. Diego was just working grappling. So Volk could focus on one thing, which was the hands, and only the hands. Then when he stood up, let me get the leg out and back to the hands. When they're striking, he's only worried about striking. What Diego did not do well is tie it all together. He never used the strikes to set up the wrestling, never used the wrestling to set up the strikes, never used the scramble to set up a submission. So it was just one thing at a time, and you're not going to get an all-time great like Volkanovski. You're not going to beat him at any one thing. You could create chaos and maybe find something in the chaos, but you're not going to beat him at one thing at a time. And that's all Diego did, one thing at a time.
Yeah, I would agree. You have to find that chaos. The problem is inside that chaos, though, Angelo, he's the slower guy. And in that chaos, he was getting hit. Like the speed was definitely giving him a problem.
Sure.
I mean, in the 5th round, he stepped in on a jab, and Volk got hit there first and snapped his head back. I thought he was gonna get knocked the fuck out by a jab. I mean, he stepped in so hard. Dude. Yeah, he is tough. He's got a great chin, and he's a tough fighter. I just don't want to see him rely on his toughness because he's got such great technique on the ground. Utilize that. Get people afraid of your grappling. No one's afraid of your grappling anymore because you don't grapple anymore. You become a stand-up guy. You start threatening that submissions, those knockouts will come. All that will come. I mean, you go back to his very first fight at the UFC against Evloev, and he was chasing submission after submission and just doing everything he could. That was a great fight for a beginner coming in, and he was fighting a top guy. And so I go back and I watch that fight, and I think, you look at all of his fights after that, he's not the same guy. I don't know what happened during that process, but he fell in love with the
same thing that happens to everybody that finds a couple knockouts. Everybody that has a nice, solid wrestling or grappling background that found enough to do this than it is to grapple and wrestle. And also, we're talking, he fought an all-time great. Like, it is hard to leave this and be like, oh, he just fought arguably the greatest featherweight of all time. Like, literally. So it's like, you can't shit on a guy that went the distance twice with one of the best featherweights, if not one of the best fighters that has ever lived. Like, that is what it is.
Yeah. What adjustments can he make? I mean, right now, like, he's gonna have to go back. Look, let's do. I wanted to try and do this a little bit, at least for the top 3 fights. Is who do you have next for Volk, and who do you have next for Diego?
Well, so what's interesting is there's rumors. I don't know if it's officially announced. I think it's more than a Facebook boomer rumor, but also not officially announced. I think it's somewhere in between that Mosvar and Lerone Murphy are fighting UFC London, the main event.
Okay.
If that's the case, then we just wait for the winner for Volk. Easy, done. If that's not the case, then I think you do Lerone Murphy over Mosvar for Volk. And I don't know if you saw the press conference. Volkanovski said he wanted that. Volkanovski was like, we can't have people skipping the line. There's rankings for a reason. We need to follow the order. And just one of these undefeated guys, that's why I need to fight next. So good for Volk for being that, like, there's a lot easier fights for him than Mosvar or Lerone. And he was like, no, we have to follow the order. That's who should be next. So if those two are fighting each other, Volk gets the winner. If they're not fighting each other and they're both available, then I would do Volk versus Lerone because Lerone's not quite as boring as Mosvar.
Yeah. I see. If we're following the rankings, it would be Mosvar. It would be Evloev is number 1, and he deserves it. He hasn't lost since he's been in the UFC. What is he? Yeah, like
neither has Lerone Murphy though.
I don't think. But how many fights does Lerone Murphy have in the UFC?
I don't know, but he just knocked out your boy bad, and Mosvar's squeaking out decisions against Aljo.
It's winning though. Aljo's a former champion. Pico is not
at a lower weight class.
Still came up and still a former champion. You're not taking the champion out of it, buddy.
I'm not saying Aljo sucks. I'm saying that Lerone Murphy's knocking a couple people out and Mosvar's just hugging to death. And first of all, we know what the deal is. The UFC hates the hug. If the UFC could cut Lerone Murphy right now, I think, or Mosvar Evloev, I think they would.
Oh, for sure they would.
Sure. You know what? Not worth it.
They can't do it though. Not right now.
It'd be obscene to do. Yeah, he has to at least lose. Yeah. For them to do it right now would be like, it would actually be a black eye on the sport.
Oh, absolutely.
It'd be like, dude, like this one. I get you got rid of Renat, okay, but like this one's.
See, I think Lerone needs one more win to get to a title shot. I think Mosvar should be next, and I think you should put Lerone maybe against Jean Silva, or you put Lerone versus Yair Rodriguez, or you put Lerone versus Diego Lopez. You do something like that.
I'm looking at I get what you're saying, especially like the literal official UFC rankings. Mosvar is first up, then Diego, then Yair, then Lerone.
Yeah.
First of all, Yair should not be number 3.
Yep. I agree.
That's actually kind of a ridiculous ranking right there. So if you're going to follow this to the true, then yeah, Mosvar versus VOLK. The problem is I don't think anybody cares. Like, I don't think that's like going to drive a lot. Mosvar has no personality whatsoever. His fights are objectively boring. And then if he wins, it's like, oh God, this might literally be the most boring champion we've ever had. I think people say Bilal was boring. Bilal speaks English.
But I think what we saw last night was we saw a guy who can stuff takedowns. And I go back to the Islam thing.
I think he beats
his takedowns, and I think he can beat Mosvar. I said, let's get this over with. If it would have been last fight, I would have been like, oh shit. I don't know, because with VOLK coming off the losses, afraid of being knocked out, like you could tell the energy level was different last fight than it was to this one. He walked in, and I said this on X last night. I'm like, he just was soaking in the excitement and the fans and the energy. He was fucking loving it. Volkanovski was. Yeah. And I loved it for him. That's how amazing it was to see him look in the crowd, and they were amped up when Buffer's introducing him. It was awesome, man. I love when I see fighters like that enjoying that moment, not stressing themselves out. Like, shit, I should have changed my fucking bet. That's the first thing that went through my mind. Is like, this guy's not losing tonight. He's not losing. And that's the first thing that went in my head when I saw him get introduced.
Incredible walkout. There's only a few people that have like iconic walkouts nowadays. He's one of them. I come from it's a fun song. People go crazy. Well-liked guy. Same with Patty's walkout's incredible. Ilya's walkout. Yeah. Like, that's an incredible walkout. Poeton. Like, these are incredible walkouts. And when I was watching VOLK's walkout, we were singing the I Come From a Land Down Under song, and we're all getting jazzed up. I gotta say, maybe it was the broadcast. I don't know. It didn't feel like that crowd was as excited as they should have been. And maybe it was literally where the microphones were. They just didn't seem to go crazy. Like, they should have been screaming. Yeah, that's the last time they will ever see him fight there. Ever. Yeah. Like, that was the last time the Australians would watch their guy fight live there. It's been 9 years between the last two. He's not going back next year. So yeah, it's unless maybe they'll do a retirement there, but it's just crazy that the roof didn't blow off that place.
Oh, someone.
And maybe it was literally the broadcast.
Someone just called you out and said Mosvar does speak English. He's fluent English.
Oh, fluent. No, incredible. Did he learn it from his 13-year-old wife? Meat Rocket. He married a 13-year-old, Josh. Don't make that face. It happened.
Are you serious?
100%.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, they're married now, so congrats to them.
Can I ask you a question?
I would love if you did.
Okay, this is one of those, and I don't know where are we. No, let's not ask this question. Let's move on to the fight talk.
Oh, now I'm so interested.
I'll ask you off.
And I'm just being playful, by the way. I don't have any weird aggression towards Mosvar.
That's what I was wondering. I was just
no, not at all. Like, Islam is really funny, and that's where he's able to put, because his fighting was kind of boring for a long time, but he's very funny. Personality came out. Merab, his English is perfectly fine. Boring for a while, funny. Personality came out. Mosvar Evloev, he is competent in English and he can speak some English, but show me a clip of Mosvar saying something funny. Show me a clip of him, talking shit like correctly and not just be like, I beat you bad, you suck. Like Ankalaev. Ankalaev can speak some English, but like, my God, it's not funny. the trash talk isn't good. Like, come on. Like, so when I say he doesn't speak English, it's not literally he doesn't speak English. It's not in any sort of relatable capacity where it's like, dude, that guy's funny. Like if you pay attention, he's funny. You don't really get that. So it's a hard guy to market.
Yeah, I could see that. Hopefully the hope is that they develop a personality that is marketable for, the fans that are out there, some new fans so they can acquire. That's really what it comes down to. When Habib came in early, it wasn't a huge success.
No,
it wasn't until he started to get his one-liners in the post-fight interviews, and just started catching. And then Islam came along and did the same, some stuff similar as well. So hopefully these guys catch on. We'll see. Look, they have so much talent. It's so nice to see them have success. But what do you do now so VOLK, you're saying, I say Movzar for VOLK, and I say Lerone needs to fight a stand-up fight. I'd like to see him fight Yair or Diego Lopez or,
I would do Yair over Diego. I think I would do Yair over Diego only because I think his rank number 3 is kind of atrocious. Like that seems a little high.
Yeah.
And so I would do Yair because it's a good fun test. I mean, Yair's a phenomenal striker, obviously. Lerone Murphy seems to be a great striker. Let's see what happens. But I want Diego to get a win. Like Diego is marketable. Diego has 2 countries behind him, all of Mexico, all of Brazil. His fights are exciting. If you just start throwing Diego into these really tough fights and he loses another one, like it's hard to keep that. It's hard to keep I talked about it on my recap video. There's some fighters that have the sweat equity that if they lose, you don't care. Tai Tuivasa is one of them. I don't think anybody saw that fight like cut him. This guy said, no, you're like, this guy went to war. Every fight he's in is fun. Diego's not quite there yet. So I think he needs to get a win.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually would not be opposed to Diego Lopez and Aljo based on the fact that it could end up being a really good grappling match.
Sure.
And to watch the 2 of them get after each other on the ground. I'd love to see that. Then maybe that'll spark Diego to get back to his wrestling and his jiu-jitsu. I want to see that. And then that's what Aljo's going to do. And in terms of, I'm also want to see Movzar fight VOLK, but then Lerone somewhere in that mix. I'm not opposed to him fighting Yair Rodriguez. Diego Lopez, I wouldn't mind watching him fight Yair Rodriguez either because they have a little beef between each other. Remember that?
Sure, they do.
At the presser and that type of stuff. So there's exciting fights in that mix. The problem is in that top 5, 6, actually all the way down to Yusuf Zalal. All those guys are animals. They're all younger. They're all up and coming. They're great fighters.
Yeah, if I'm looking at the rank, so we're trying to match up Diego.
Yeah, I would try to match up Diego. Who would you match him with?
So I wouldn't do Movzar, obviously. Yair, potentially, because there is some beef there. You could do a headline. This year's Noche. That could be a perfect headliner for this year's Noche. It's a tough fight, but if he doesn't win that fight, like a guy that we've seen finished, Yair's been finished a handful of times. So if he doesn't win that fight, now it's like, all right, maybe Diego's not who we thought he was. So I don't hate that matchup. I would not do Lerone. I don't love the Aljo matchup. Aljo's a phenomenal wrestler. He went nuts with Movzar. He was winning the wrestling in the Movzar fight. He was just losing the scrambles. Yeah. So I don't like that matchup. He already fought John Silva. Arnold Allen, that could be a fun one. Him versus Arnold Allen could be very interesting. Or Steve Garcia. So the only options I would do are Steve Garcia, Arnold Allen, or Yair Rodriguez. I think any of those are fine. You don't necessarily want to stop the Steve Garcia hype train. He's on a very long win streak. So then you end up with Arnold Allen or Yair Rodriguez. I say you do the Yair, you make it a Noche main event, and you have history to build it up.
But you're not against the Aljo fight.
I'm not against it. I just, my goal here is to get Diego a fun, convincing win. I don't know if Aljo's good, man. I don't know if he can do that against Aljo.
He's really good.
Aljo might take him down and hold him down. He might lose the same way he lost to Movzar in his UFC debut.
Possibly.
Because Aljo's got great jiu-jitsu. Yeah. So it's not like, so I don't love that matchup for a couple reasons.
I think that'd be a fantastic fight. I get what you're saying. I do. Because there's a good chance he could lose that fight. And Aljo is, I think now.
And it wouldn't be fun if he did. So now Aljo has a boring win. Diego has another loss. He's lost 3 of 4. I don't think it helps either one of them.
What do you look? Aljo's been sitting on the sideline. What do you do with him, man? Like I know we're getting off track, but it's like he's been waiting around. He's like, look, I'm getting older. I don't have many left in me. I want to try to get up to that title. I think you give him the Lopez or give him the Yair fight.
But then we just used that year. So I
know.
think you do Aljo versus Arnold Allen,
Mhm.
or you can do Yusuf, or you can do Steve Garcia. All
Yeah.
three of those people are right there. Steve Garcia is, I think he has
fun.
the longest active win streak outside of the two undefeated guys, the longest active win streak in the division. So I think any three of those, Yusuf is good, like good. So let's find out how good he actually is.
That's
Steve
true.
Garcia is on this long win streak. Let's give him a real opponent. And then Arnold Allen, yeah, he just lost. But Arnold Allen is clearly a very good fighter, and he's ranked right there. He's number 7 to Aljo's 5. So I think any of those three.
I like your matchups. I do. I mean, I know you stole them somewhat from me, but I like your matchups.
How could I?
Good.
I went first.
The Noche one is good. The Noche one is good. Where you go Yair and Lopez at Noche, that's a no-brainer. I feel like that's an automatic moneymaker. The co-main event with BSD and Dan Hooker, it did not live up to what my expectations. It did not live up to that. On top of that,
what the hell were your expectations?
My
that
expectations.
Was a fun fight.
I didn't think so.
What?
No, it was a very dominant fight by BSD. There was not a moment.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
BSD was getting lit up in the first round.
Yeah, in the first minute and a half. And then after that, one takedown and the fight was over. Dude, every takedown came easier after that. He just walked forward. He just walked forward, dipped his head, and just kept walking forward. And Dan Hooker had no answer how to stop the zombie from just walking him down.
His answer was relentlessly trying a ninja choke. That was his answer. Just ninja choke. And listen, the ninja choke created a few different scrambles where BSD had to just rotate out like an alligator and then start over. So I am going to disagree with you. I thought it was a fun fight. And I watched the beginning of that fight. I do what's called a safety parlay where, I do a parlay every week and I just stamp it as this is safe. And it hits at remarkable accuracy over time. Sometimes
what's that accuracy like 22%, 25%? What do you got?
No, it's like long-term. Obviously you can look at any window of a week to whatever. Long-term, it hits at 70%.
Oh, wow.
A parlay at 7, but sometimes the odds are dog shit, right? The odds on this one were minus, I think it was minus 127 this past week. It was Benoit Saint-Denis and Cam Rawson. And the Cam Rawson fight, I was like, all right, we got through that. The Benoit Saint-Denis fight, and I placed it long before they were 3-1 favorites. It was 2-1, something like that. The Benoit Saint-Denis fight, the first 2 minutes of that fight, I'm like, this guy loses. This guy loses. This guy's he's going to lose this fight. He was getting hit with everything that Dan Hooker threw. Dan Hooker's confidence was through the roof. Dan Hooker blocked a couple of takedown attempts with that ninja choke. It was very clear to me. I thought Benoit Saint-Denis was going to get Patty Pimbletted, where he's just going to get his face bashed in and have nothing to offer outside of that. Thankfully for him, Dan Hooker's takedown defense is kind of atrocious. But we're all ignoring the fact that the only reason Benoit won this fight is because Dan is a moron who shot his own takedown in the second round. Dan Hooker had a very good first round, in my opinion. Felt like momentum was going his way. Benoit's face is all beat up, bloody, swollen. Dan Hooker defended a couple of takedowns, clearly the better striker. And then in the second round, Dan Hooker shoots his own takedown like an idiot. And then that takedown attempt is what ended him up on his back, and he just never got back up. He did that to himself.
BSD was literally just falling forward with his head down, just trying to and Dan had no answer on how to get off the fence. And when he did circle off the fence, he just stayed right there so he could just grab him again. I'm like, no, make space.
We agree, he's a moron.
Get in the middle of the cage. Get in the middle of the cage and make him cover that. I could not wrap my head around it. And I love watching him fight. I just feel like he was so exciting when he first came into the UFC. It was fun, knocking guys out.
That was
still exciting. I get it. But do you feel this is what I said last night in my reaction video, is I said I feel like the fighters that end up in these battles and these wars all the time, they end up really kind of just pigeonholing themselves into just, this is what I am and who I am. And what I mean by that is you take a look at Michael Chandler. I'm the excited. Are you not entertained? I'm the guy that's going to stand there and just trade no matter how dumb it is, and Dan Hooker's kind of pigeonholing himself into that. Gaethje is getting wins, still, but it's he's kind of done it himself. Max is
better than them.
I understand. I understand that. I do. but there'll come a time where the age will catch up, and then it won't be better, and then you're gonna kind of be stuck in this whole like, okay, I let all my skills. I feel like Diego Lopez is headed this way as well. I got away from my grappling, I got away from my wrestling, and I'm predominantly just now a boxer. You can look at Calvin Kattar, you can look at Josh Emmett. Like that's what I'm talking about. Guys that have gotten away from what got them to the dance, and now they've become just these guys that stand and trade and become entertaining fighters.
I think I definitely get what you're saying. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. Meaning, Dan Hooker's at a point where there's just no way he is going to get to a title shot ever. He's just not going to get there. He doesn't quite have the well-roundedness. He's not good enough to be one of those guys. So he is good enough, however, to make a shitload of money. And that is the point, right? That's the point here. He's good enough to make a ton of money. And the way you're going to make your money is go out there, put on a show, make it fun. And the UFC knows with 100% certainty, if I throw Dan Hooker in a fight, it'll be a fun fight. It'll be a fun fight. People will enjoy it. People look forward to it. And I think you just have to do that. Like, I think you just have to be exciting and let it go. But I also, you said like change what got you there. But he was never a grappler. He didn't change anything. This is literally how he's always fought. The sport just improved past him.
True.
Everybody else learned all the things, and he just is still a giant dude who's tough as hell and has very good striking.
I was hoping you would keep talking until I got through my drink, but apparently not. Okay, so I guess my question to you then is, what do you do with BSD? 2 huge wins.
Dude,
dominant. I feel like dominant wins. I know he struggled a little bit in the first, like you were saying, but he got a takedown halfway through the first round and was on top for basically the last quarter or last half of the fight in the first round. Second round, just zombie walked him, got the fight, finally got to the ground, and then dominated from there. Spear elbows, domination from that. What do you do with BSD? And do I dare say, do you match him against Paddy Pimblett?
No, because he could probably beat Paddy. Here's the problem. I don't think Benoit Saint-Denis is very good as far as like raw skills are concerned. His striking was pretty atrocious last night. The dude was slow as hell, just kind of throwing. His takedown attempts, he looks like Sling Blade and he wrestles like Sling Blade. His just head was down and he just marches forward and grabs legs. And it's like, how is this working for you? Like, it's crazy that this is working for you, but he is insanely tough. He's relentless. He keeps moving forward. So I think BSD is just a few years behind Dan Hooker. For example, I think he's going to get matched up with some of the higher level people, not beat them, and then just go down the path of like, hey, you're positive he'll be in a fun fight every time. He went on there with the French accent, said the F word 35 times, called out Justin Gaethje and Ilya. Both of them, we agree, both of them just smoke BSD. He's not beating Ilya.
No,
and he's not beating Justin. Like, what's he do? So he can't beat those two, which is fine, right? They're the champ and the interim champ. And if you look at the rankings, he's not beating Arman. I think you give him the loser of the BMF fight between Charles Oliveira and Max.
I said this. I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking them, or I said, like I said, do you dare say give him Paddy Pimblett?
No, because he could potentially beat Paddy. Paddy could. I wouldn't be shocked if Paddy smoked. They're actually kind of the same. Takedowns aren't great. Striking's not great, but insanely tough.
Yeah, I would lean more towards Paddy winning that fight. After what I saw from Paddy against Justin Gaethje, I just think, I know everyone keeps bagging on him, bro. He still fucking fought his ass off. That guy he landed some clean, hard shots on Justin. Sure. Justin was hurt several times in that fight, not just once or twice. Not to mention the knees that came up the middle. Paddy Pimblett he earned my respect 100%. Not as if he needed it or not, but needed it all. But like, he legitimately, I said, man, this guy is a lot better than I ever gave him credit for. And a lot tougher than I ever gave him credit for. I see him beating BSD. I see this fight potentially getting to the ground, and I see the domination on the ground by Paddy Pimblett on that. But I also would like the idea of possibly the loser of Max and Charles. I could see that as well.
Yeah, because the conundrum here is that BSD is now ranked 6th.
Yeah.
So what the hell do you do with him?
That's where I'm lost.
He lost to Moicano. He got Moicano beat the shit out of him. Like, bad. Moicano mauled him.
That was his first fight in the UFC, wasn't it?
No, not even close. That was his first fight in the UFC. He got mauled by
Zaleski.
they literally fired the referee for not stop. They fired him on the spot. Like, you almost let that dude die.
Yeah.
So
I remember that fight. Fucking
Yeah.
Big John and I got on right after. We're like, what in the fuck did we just witness?
Yeah.
John's like, I don't know what the hell happened to that ref. That ref wasn't paying attention at all. I was like, Jesus, he almost died.
Immediately.
I honestly thought he would never fight again. I was like, dude, this guy's gonna have to take at least a year off to get his brain normal again.
Insanely tough though. Yeah,
I think
you could do Benoit Saint Denis. There's only 2 fights, and it depends what your motives are here and who you're trying to get a win. It's either the loser of the Oliveira Holloway fight or Rafael Fiziev.
Ooh, that's a big drop though. He's gonna drop a lot in the rankings. Fiziev.
They're ranked. Oh well, yeah, because Fiziev just lost.
Yeah, he just lost.
Yeah, actually, Ruffy's 14 and Fiziev is right now before they've updated it 9.
Yep.
But that's still an appropriate. I think
agree.
that's an appropriate matchup because, like, I understand rankings and rankings matter, but Dan Hooker probably should not be 6.
He'll drop significantly, I think, now after this as well. What do you do with Dan Hooker? Can I chime in real quick on this one?
It's your show. You should be chiming in.
This is our show for Sundays. Okay, so I love how you talk. It's kind of nice, isn't it? Isn't it kind of nice? You just show up and film.
Yeah, I have to do shit. This is
You like normally when you film with your boy Jacob. By the way, everyone, I was able to meet Jacob at the fights at Peak Fights on Friday night. Very nice guy. Not what I expected, to be honest.
What'd you expect?
I just expect him to be a little more wonky. He's not. He's actually kind of normal.
He's very normal. He's not even weird on stream. He's just
he's kind of weird on stream.
He's an exaggerated version of himself, like funny, sarcastic, whatever. And he's just on stream
a lot more animated on stream.
Well, when you're by yourself trying to entertain, last night he had like 1,600 people the whole time for 7 hours straight. Like,
he's trying to entertain himself as well while he's on there, like fucking driving myself crazy.
To entertain 1,600 people for 7 hours straight, I couldn't do it. And I'll argue Jacob's the best in this, the best like fight companion live streamer in this space, like period.
Interesting.
But yeah, so you can't go off like
no.
Yeah, the dude's like, and like, doing crazy stuff because he hit a huge bet on stream versus just hanging out with the fellas. But yeah.
For me, what I would do with Dan Hooker is I would have him rematch Michael Chandler.
You definitely could do that. That's an expensive fight though.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like if you're the UFC, that's a $500,000 fight. And I don't know if you want to use those funds to build somebody else because nobody gets built after this fight, but it is a very fun fight.
No, but I think it kind of opens the door to a new contract negotiation. Whoever loses.
Yeah. Like
UFC goes,
this.
We can either let you go or you can take a pay cut. I don't, and I'm not pitching that, but I'm saying, look, we've got to have one of you guys rise to the top. We got to see what's going on. Let's see if that first fight was a fluke. The energy level was on Chandler's side. Chandler got 2 title fights out of that shit. Yeah. Let's not be mistaken. So let's go ahead and see if Dan Hooker wants it back.
And I think Dan Hooker's only 2 fights away from a very good win. His win over Gamrot was great. That was a great win. Like Dan Hooker is not where, in my opinion, Michael Chandler is. Like, I don't know who Michael Chandler beats, but Dan Hooker is still good. Versus people with normal durability and normal takedowns, Dan Hooker's beating a lot of people. He lost to Arman, who arguably is the best lightweight on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
He beats Gamrot, who's ranked. Where the hell's Gamrot ranked on here?
I think he's like
7th.
Yeah.
He beats Gamrot like pretty convincingly. He loses to BSD, but that dude's a zombie, and it was a literal mistake that got him on the ground. He just couldn't get back up. So I'm not quite ready to say like give him a bum. So Hooker versus Fiziev could be a fun one. 2 strikers. Do Hooker
both coming off losses.
I'll give Fiziev to either one of those fighters, BSD or Dan Hooker.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I look at the Hooker and I think Chandler. I was also maybe throwing Dariush because you hit the it's an expensive fight. Dariush is probably half of what Chandler costs. So maybe you can make that fight. You could also have that headline at like an Apex. You could also do something like that.
Potentially. That is I do think you need somebody with a better recent record to be able to at least headline. In the fight. You know what I mean? Yeah.
At least the headline.
Yeah, because like Dariush was just knocked out in 5 seconds in his last fight. And Dan Hooker's lost 2 of last 3 or something like that. So you know, you probably need a little more zhuzh to call it a main event, but I would be interested in all of those fights for sure.
You also have Mauricio Ruffy coming back from his dominant dominant destruction. He got mauled. He got destroyed by BSD last fight. And then now this coming in, having a great performance against Fiziev, all on the stand-up, obviously. There was a couple little threats of takedowns, but nothing real serious by Fiziev, which I thought he would have attacked the takedowns a little bit more to make Ruffy a little bit more hesitant on the feet. But as the fight got going, you could just tell that Fiziev was really having a hard time with the reach and the range, and also just that straight jab. The jab all night was snapping Fiziev's head back until the right hand landed. What was your take on the fight?
I thought Fiziev, I honestly thought Fiziev looked good until he didn't. Like, because a lot of people are like, why didn't he wrestle? Why didn't he wrestle? I don't think he wrestled because I thought he was doing well on the feet, and I think he thought that as well. Like, all right, I'm landing. Fiziev controlled that cage. Wasn't even remotely close. He was backing up Ruffy. He was in Ruffy's face. I thought he was landing big. I thought he was landing clean. Like, I thought Fiziev was doing a good job, and I thought he was on his way to potentially winning a close decision. And then obviously Ruffy landed that monster right hand. I'm trying to see what the scorecards were.
I guess for me, when I was watching the fight in the first round, Fiziev's landing within the first probably 2 minutes, he was landing some monster leg kicks and the calf kick. And then all of a sudden, Fiziev decides to get away from it. You could see the discomfort on Ruffy's face. He was standing more in a square stance. He even switched his stance a couple times after getting calf kicked. And then for some reason, Fiziev and his corner they decided that, no, let's not do the calf kicks anymore. And when you have someone who is tall, long, lanky like that and has a wide stance, keep going to the calf. And then as you do that, the takedowns will come a little bit easier because the mobility won't be there. His mobility is what kept him in the fight, kept his back foot off the fence, and he could use his lateral movement to stay away from Fiziev's from reach. Like, his reach was giving Fiziev such hard times. So if you don't take care of that lead leg, which is what happened, he stopped hitting the calf kick, and then it worked against him. He started getting touched with the jab. You got to get after the jab. You got to get after that lead leg, and he just got away from it. I think that's when he started losing the fight.
Yeah, I mean, Ruffy's leg was like, if Joe Rogan was the commentator on that, he would have been screaming, oh, Ruffy's legs are about to snap in half. His leg was like swollen. It was red. Like, for sure, he was having a ton of success. I thought he looked pretty good. And then obviously Ruffy showed us why they always said he was the best of all the fighting nerds. So, you know, I thought it was a good fight. I hate to see Fiziev go out like that because Fiziev also has that dog in him. Like, Fiziev is a guy that could end up being, you know, BMF caliber, like not quite a world champion, but certainly insanely tough and can get some high quality. We've seen him go to hell and back with Justin Gaethje. Yeah. So, you know, he only attempted, I just looked it up. He only attempted one single takedown in that fight, but I think it's because he was controlling the octagon. He was in complete control of that, and he was landing. So I you know, ultimately monster shot came through and didn't go his way, but I don't leave that being like, oh, Fiziev sucks. I leave that being like, damn, dude, Ruffy is as good as they said he was. How the hell did James Yontop survive?
I felt like he just needed to prove something. He needed to prove that the last fight just wasn't his time. And then also too, him leaving, right? He left and went to train with Volkanovski, and it sounds like Jean Silva's a little butthurt about the whole situation.
Like, I've heard conflicting. I heard he left Fighting Nerds to train with Volk, and Jean Silva unfollowed him on Instagram, whatever. But then I also heard, like, no, that was a translation issue. He just said this feels like home. He's still a fighting nerd. And then Jean Silva said Ruffy being there will help Volk. So it all seems well and good. You know, I
mean, Volk in the post-fight interviews was talking about how he sounded a little butthurt, that he seemed a little upset that Ruffy was training out with me, and things that he said about
Volk said that about Jean Silva.
Yep.
Oh,
yep.
Well, Jean Silva's also like deep into the spectrum, so I can imagine he just kind of says things sometimes with his emotions.
Oh yeah, did you see the belt when he saw the belt?
Dude, that was
it just seems a little
that was bad.
Yeah, little wonky there. Yeah. Look, if we're matching these guys up, I mean, you've got Ruffy. Who do you got for him next?
You know, I don't know, because he did just get mauled 2 fights ago, like bad. It wasn't remotely close. He got absolutely ran through. So I think you can do a Ruffy versus Dan Hooker, if that's the route you want to go. Let's see how good you actually are. You know, Dan Hooker's tried and true at this point. Dan Hooker's a very good striker. Not a lot of people have outstruck Dan Hooker outside of that monster right hand from Michael Chandler. So you could do Ruffy versus Dan Hooker. You know, I wouldn't do Patty. I wouldn't go crazy just yet with Ruffy. Like, he's way down there in the rankings.
Mm-hmm.
He's 14.
Yeah, he'll jump quite a bit though up to number 9, somewhere in there.
And the only people above him are Benoit Saint Denis, who beat him badly. Mateusz Gamrot, they're not going to match him up against a wrestler so quickly after what Benoit Saint Denis did. Dan Hooker, or then you get Patty, Max, Charles Arman. I don't hate Dan Hooker. Or then, dude, maybe this is a Michael Chandler spot.
Possibly. How old is Mauricio Ruffy? Do we know?
I mean, somebody.
I think he's like 34 or something.
No,
is he that old?
Let's see. There's no way he's 34. What the hell weight class?
29. He's 29.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
he turns 30 in June. So
there's no reason to go banana. We just watched him get destroyed in the BSD fight. That wasn't, you know, a lot. We all have short memories in this space, and you're only as good as your last fight. So if you're only as good as your last fight, he's great. But 2 fights ago, like, fraud of the century, what a bum. The guy has no ground game at all. So we have to be careful with the matchup here.
Yeah, I was leaning, if he was 34, which I thought he was. Yeah, he's 29. At least that's what it says on SureDog, is that he's 29.
Yeah, that stuff's pretty accurate.
If he was 34 though, I would have matched him against Gamrot. But like, hey, it's fucking sink or swim. We got to see what we can do with you. You have a short period of time that we can build you, and we've just got to get you to the title. You're 29. I actually really do enjoy the Chandler idea. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, Chandler, it's not the easiest sell in the world because the dude just keeps losing, but you know, he's at least a name of sorts. They used Chandler to get Patty a title shot, so they could use him to build up Ruffy a bit. You know, I don't think there's a rush with Ruffy. I wouldn't do the Gamrot fight.
Yeah, I was only thinking that fight if he was 34.
Oh,
that's the only time out. That's where you're like, hey, there's no time. Let's just figure it out. Can you fucking wrestle? Because look at the top of this division. Okay, you're gonna have to deal with Arman Saruki, and you're gonna have to deal with Charles Oliveira if he gets in on your legs and gets to the submission. You're gonna have to deal with that. So those 2 guys right there are gonna give you some problems. So I mean, I got to see whether it's even worth putting more effort into you if you can't beat Gamrot. You know, especially after Dan Hooker just beat him.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he has the defense or scramble skills of Hooker. Yeah. Or at least he didn't in the BSD fight. Maybe he does now. I don't know.
And then what do you do with Fiziev?
I'm totally fine with him fighting every winner or loser on this card in that weight class. Like literally totally fine with that.
It's funny. It's funny you said that. I said that. I wrote it down. I go, you could fight Charles. You could fight Chandler. You could fight Dariush. There's so many guys you could fight. You could fight Fiziev. Why not have him fight Hooker? Like, you've got the first fights there. There's plenty of fights there for you.
He's right now, he's like in a good spot matchup wise, because his losses are not embarrassing.
No. He
has enough sweat equity that, you know, like, all right, he is proven, and he's good, and he's durable, and he's tough, and he's fun, he's exciting. So and he's a great measuring stick. So I'm perfectly fine with Fiziev in basically any matchup. Like, totally fine with any of it.
Yeah. Look, I guess we're going to move on to the heavyweights. You got Taliesin Teixeira versus Tai Tuivasa. Tai Tuivasa is 0-6 in his last 6 fights. He is also ranked number 12. He'll drop to like number 15, probably somewhere in there, or maybe even out of the rankings. But this lets you know the state of the heavyweight division. If you're 0-6 and you're still in the top 15, that's pretty wild.
It's not a great division at all. Here's the thing with Tai. I've said sweat equity probably more times in the stream than the last 10 years. Tai's in an interesting spot because he is 0-6. But I don't think you look at a Tai Tuivasa fight and says, this guy sucks. Because he doesn't suck. He's good at what he does. And there was 3 fighters on this card. I'm going to expand this a little bit. There's 3 fighters on this card that lost that you could argue should all be cut, that I think are good to keep around for 3 very different reasons. Cody Brundage lost, but he was competitive early, had a couple of moments. His recent record is weird, but he's a perfect measuring stick or a barometer for the rest of the division, right?
Mhm.
If you can beat Cody Brundage, then yeah, you deserve to be here. If you can't, then you're not UFC level. Great gatekeeper. Same exact thing with Jamie Malarkey. Jamie Malarkey's a skilled fighter. He's got good striking. He's got good grappling. Chin's not great. But if you can beat Jamie Malarkey, like, okay, you are a UFC caliber fighter. If you can't, like Rolando Bedoya, then okay, you don't deserve to be here. Go back, try to get better. I think Tai Tuivasa is the same. I think he's in the exact same boat. He's a heavyweight gatekeeper, and I'm good with that. Let him be a gatekeeper. Every fight he's in is fun. You know what he's going to do. And if Tai Tuivasa can show up once a year and we find out if the person he's fighting actually deserves to be a UFC heavyweight or not, I am perfectly fine with that. So what do you do next with Tai? You just keep doing this. Every now and then, give him an old guy that maybe he'll get a win and just test him against some of these young guys and see what happens.
Yeah, I was screaming at my TV in the third round.
He's
like,
too
Ty,
fucking fat, dude. He's too fat.
Make space, get up, make space, let it go. Like, let your hands go. He kept smothering his shots. He was so tired. He was falling forward into the clinch. And I was just like, oh, man, what is going on?
Yeah.
Driving me freaking crazy. But man, he gassed so hard in the third. But he had moments in the third. I was like, you could get him out of here. Teixeira wanted to go to sleep. He's like, I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah.
Get me out of here. Just knock me out. But you fell into me. Let me just hold you now. Let's cuddle. And it just was driving me nuts because Tai had the moments. He had the front headlock. He could have just backed away and said, get up. Could have tried to get him out of there that way. I don't know. It was very
frustrating. Dude had to cut weight.
I know.
Tai had to cut weight. Like he got
It's common though for heavyweights, to be honest.
Yeah, but I don't think he's had to do that in the past. I think he's always just been kind of big. Dude, he got enormous. Like if you go back 6 months and catch any UFC broadcast, he's just fat as shit, sweaty, greasy, just enormous when they cut to him in the audience. Tai like let himself go over the last year and a half.
And you're literally like 10 pounds lighter than him.
And a foot taller. And a foot taller.
Tai's like 6'2", 6'3".
Tai is a melting candle.
You guys are very similar.
I'm going to stand up right now to show me I look like 50. Okay. Is this a Tai Tuivasa?
That's kind of a triple XL shirt. I mean, that's
a 1X true classic. A 1X true classic. Listen, am I skinny? No. Am I a professional athlete? Also, no. Tai Tuivasa let himself go, and it showed in the third round. That's the problem. That's the problem. Because there are fat people that are totally fine. Big Country Roy Nelson, for example. That dude was fat as shit. He didn't get tired.
Yeah, he just pushed through, man. That guy was, and he would take some big shots too. He would just walk into shots and fucking still was around. Yeah, I think in terms of
are you in the cut him camp or are you in the same camp I'm in? It's like, who cares? Like he's fun, he's a great measuring stick. Or are you like, listen, I can't look past the losing streak. Like
no. This is where I'm at. In certain divisions, when it's so shallow like this, you got to keep the ones that are entertaining. And you got to keep them. Okay. If this was 145 pounds or 155 pounds or 135 pounds, I'm like, okay, look, he's never going to be champion. What are we doing? There's already a stack of 15 guys that he can't get past. Like, no, we either let you go back to the smaller shows and you can work your way back. Or if you're older and you've been around for a bit and now we know it's towards the end, I'm just going to make you as the gatekeeper. Like, no offense, but like a Jim Miller, right? We have him in there. He fights once a year, makes a little money, but he's still tough, still good. But like,
Jim keeps squeaking out random wins. So he's a little different because he does squeak out wins. But I get it.
But they also are not matching him with top 15 guys. You know what I mean?
No, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
They're giving them fights. Okay, look, if you can get past Jim, okay, we'll keep you around. We'll give you a bump. They do that based around, okay, look, you have 2 more fights left on this contract. Are we going to go ahead and take you forward, give you a little extra? Can you get a win over Jim Miller? And Jim is obviously proven he's like, I'm no easy fucking fight for anyone.
Yeah.
So,
and you need that. You can't have an entire roster of almost champions. That's just not how any of this works. Like you need gatekeepers, you need tiers. Otherwise, what ends up happening is everybody has a 500 record. If everybody's the same skill level, everybody has a 500 record, and it's impossible to move up or down or market. So you need gatekeepers. You need a barometer. If you pin that fucking Angelo's, I knew that was coming.
Oh, you knew it was coming. You knew it
I
was
saw
coming.
this stupid smirk on your small face.
Oh, it was great. You know what's great is that when you're on my show, there's a lot of people that like to take digs at you. But when we're doing bad takes, I think a lot of it's your cronies that are on there.
It's not my cronies. It's
your
all
cronies.
opinion-based information, and your opinions are typically pretty poor. And even if you have a good, here's your problem. Getting hit in the head for 20 years, because even if you have a valid point, you can't articulate it the way that I can.
No, I don't.
Then,
I can't.
Then you're stuck floundering.
Yeah.
And then it's like, yeah, I won this argument. No matter like,
but you never win the argument. It's just that I can't articulate it as well as you can. That's what the difference is. Your arguments are just they're not valid arguments. That I'm like, I just want to say this, but I can't get it out.
That's why half the time I literally say it for you. Like, you're going to say this. You're like, yes.
Just like that. I actually thank you for clarifying that. All right, look, I am extremely high on this Quinlan Salkid kid. And Jamie Mullarkey just wasn't his night, man. But Quinlan looked to be young, very good prospect. I think somebody coming up. Do you give him a ranked guy now, or do you wait one more fight?
I mean, the Nasrat win is like, oh, all right, that's a very Nasrat's a step. A win over Jamie Mullarkey, in my mind, just proves that you deserve to be here, but it's not a catapult to like, oh, wow. You know what I mean? Like, you ran through Jamie Mullarkey. Like, that's Ruffy started with running through Jamie Mullarkey. Like, that's a starting point to me. And obviously, Quinlan has a couple of fights in the UFC, and the Nasrat one was spectacular. Well, and the Nasrat one was spectacular, but he was losing that fight. I know it was the first round, but he was getting dotted up and then lands that head kick. So it's like, all right, was that flukish or you know, are you good? The way he ran through Jamie Mullarkey, it's like, all right, he's very good. But that's a stacked weight class. Yeah. So I'm trying to see first of all, my answer is no. I do not think you give him a ranked opponent yet. Okay. If I'm looking at that division, nobody he's beat is anywhere near the rankings. So, you know, Quinlan Salkid is Tapology ranking, because UFC rankings stop at a normal number. He's 25. Above him is Bobby Green, the most boring fighter in the world, Grant Dawson, Alexander Hernandez. So let's just work our way up logically. You can skip a couple people, do like a Rafa Garcia, or we can just give him Bobby Green. Let him just keep giving him some of these old vets and just slightly improve which vet and how good they are or not. Yeah. If I was going to bring him into the rankings, I keep going back to this guy. It would be like a Chandler fight, a Dariush. Oh, that's a waste of a Chandler fight. I just think it's there, but you're trying to build this young guy. Also, my concern with putting him in the rankings, if he does get a win, the rest of the guys above him, I don't think he's quite ready for you. He's stuck. Yeah. You're stuck kind of in that mix. I do like your idea of Bobby Green. I do like that. See where you're at. Bobby's a tough fight for a lot of people. He's only 26. He's crafty. He's tricky. Yeah. He's 26 years old. There's plenty of time. There's no reason to rush him. I really do. I really enjoy watching him fight, because that obviously the stand-up is there. The grappling, he said, that's more of what he does best. And from what I saw last night, it's very true. That little step behind throw was beautiful. Yeah, he launched beautiful, man. Like right to his back. It went right to the shoulders and neck and landed cleanly. And then just beautiful transitions. I think overall, I'm looking forward to seeing him grow at 26 years old. That's amazing. So who would you match him up against? You're saying Bobby Green? I would say Bobby Green, because if I'm looking at, I wouldn't do an Ignacio Bahamondes yet, because Ignacio's got some juice too. Like Ignacio's is good. He's long. I would not do a Beneil Dariush. I wouldn't do a Faraz Ziam on this incredible win streak just yet. Alexander Hernandez is an interesting one, but I think we wait a little bit with Alexander. I think Hernandez is on suspension right now for the betting stuff. He didn't do anything wrong. He's not on suspension. They're just investigating. That's what I'm saying, but they're not going to, it sounds like they're not going to fight him until they have him on ice right now. So he didn't do anything wrong. We're saying that. Yeah. Or at least, correct. At least we don't know. Correct. I would say Bobby Green for right now. I think that makes sense. I mean, you could do Grant Dawson and we could just be done with that experiment. You could just do Grant Dawson. And what happens if Grant wins? That's the problem. He's too good of a damn wrestler. And if he wins, it's boring as hell. So I would do Bobby Green. And if he destroys Bobby Green the way that only people like Ruffy have done, then now let's find out. Like, actually, let's put him on the exact same path they put Ruffy on. Mullarkey, Bobby Green, okay, you're really good. Let's jump a bunch of people and go from there. Let's do that exact same thing with Quillen.
Yeah, I can see that. I thought he looked good. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do next. What other fighters on here were you excited about? I thought the Elencana kid, I thought he looked good. I like the fact that he's a 205er, and that division is fucking weak as hell. I mean, it's one step it's one step above heavyweights. That's
my issue with the Elencana fight was, and thankfully he made the adjustment. My breakdown going into that fight was everybody thinks Elencana they're just looking at this matchup saying Junior Taffa sucks, therefore Billy Elencana wins. And while that's not a ridiculous dot to connect, and while that is basically what happened, that wasn't the story of the first round, was it? Because Billy Elencana decided to kickbox with a kickboxer. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? He got wobbled. I don't know if he was officially dropped, but he was in a bad. Yeah. So it's like, what are you doing? His only path to victory is to out kickbox you, and you're kickboxing him. What the hell are you doing? Finally made the adjustment, got to the ground. It wasn't even remotely close after that happened.
Yeah.
Pin this idiot with the Eagles comment so I could defend myself, please.
Where is this? Which one?
Cloud Gorilla. I got this comment like 100 times yesterday too, because people were like, "You Cowboy fan wearing an Eagles hat? See this little P? See this little P? And it says Prosper. That's the high school, the town high school. Damn it! It is annoying because it's the same green.
Oh yeah.
So like you can't buy the hoodies that just say Eagles in green because
he's supporting his local high school team.
Correct. Everybody thinks I'm an Eagles fan because it's the same damn green and it is Eagles. So I have to only buy stuff that has the P or says Prosper.
You just had to take a dig at him, huh? You just had to take
a dig. No, the only reason that jumped out is I got like 70 because I was wearing this hat yesterday and I was filming like a Torres Finny reaction, a couple reactions, and people were like, "You're Eagles? How dare you at a Cowboys?"
Oh my god.
Relax.
Are you a Cowboys fan? Are you one of those guys that when you move from state to state, you change your fucking team?
I'm one of those guys that was raised by immigrants. So I wasn't raised in a normal American, like, hey, let's watch football. So I didn't grow up with like some diehard allegiance to a football team. Then we move here and some of our closest friends here work for that organization. So yeah, I'm going to root for the people who pay my friends' bills. And I'm surrounded by it. My whole wife's family, everybody diehard Cowboys fans. So yeah, I'd say I'm a Cowboys fan at this point.
Cloud Gorilla 73.
No, you're good. No, you're good.
Sorry, man.
My bad. I called you a moron pretty quick there. My bad.
And then you got Mr. here. You got Matty Ice 219. Top G. All right. All right. Down, guys. Too much. Okay. Where were we at?
I was ranting about I was just saying, like, yes, great win for Billy Elencana. I just hate that his brain at any point leading up in the fight camp leading it was like, I should strike with this guy. It's like, why would you do that?
Yeah, that's a cornering issue. And same with the fight. Like the coaches and corners are like, look, go out there, throw the jab, close the distance, get into the clinch, wear him down. And we've seen Taffa. Taffa he slows down as the fight goes on. Just control him, just clinch him, just work on the legs, make him defend takedowns. He'll slow down enough to where the takedowns will come pretty easy after that. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking, but he found out real quick. This is gonna have to change.
He almost got knocked out, which would have literally derailed his entire career.
Would have derailed your betting also, but
yeah, no, that would have been a major problem. But it's like that was my whole breakdown. Like my entire breakdown was he should win this fight because he's the better MMA fighter, but he's not the better striker. So if he tries to kickbox a kickboxer, this could get stupid fast.
Yeah.
And it got stupid fast. Luckily, he was smart enough to make the adjustments.
Hey, was there any other fights on here you want to talk about? Cody Brundage is your boy. I know you love that guy. And Cameron Roston looked good. Jacob Malkoon looked good. Snapping the jabs against Torres Finny. Finny had no wrestling whatsoever.
Yeah, so I went in pretty hard. First of all, I picked Torres Finny and I bet on him because my breakdown of that was he's the better wrestler. Just be this boring nightmare that you've been for everybody else. Just be that here and you'll win this fight.
Yeah.
But he didn't shoot. So there's two things. Did he not shoot because the UFC told him not to, which is something that has happened in the past. I keep saying Carl Williams, Carl with a K, Williams 2 years ago said the UFC told me not to wrestle.
Yeah.
And then other fighters came out and said they told me not to wrestle too. So was that a conversation? Was it, dude, you're boring as hell. You are boring as hell. We can't keep you around if this is what you're going to do. Was that a conversation, or did he blow what the hell did they show? Is LCL or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
The problem is I don't think he blew his LCL in the first like 8 seconds. I think it was a little later, and at that point he was compromised. But do you think conversations like that are happening, or he's just reading the room? They're cutting people like we're not, or do you think none of that mattered? The dude got hurt. It is what it is.
No, I saw him in San Jose because he was training at DC's when I was out there for Christmas. And when I was doing the interview with DC, he was in the room and we were just chatting for a little bit. He just said, look, I've been working on my stand-up. I feel a lot more confident on it. Now, I don't know if that's what the case is. Like, did he go out there and all of a sudden get hurt and decided that I could only stand? I don't know. I couldn't tell you that. I really couldn't tell you that. I do know that he was like, look, I've been working a lot more on my stand-up. And what I saw last night was not that.
No, you weren't. Yeah.
Didn't move his head offline, wasn't throwing his combinations. I couldn't tell if he could push off. I don't know. I don't know what it was. There was no explosiveness. His wrestling, like he couldn't close the distance. He couldn't get in deep enough to the legs. And I had high expectations for him to just maul his opponent. I thought he was going to get the takedown easily, control the top position, maybe struggle a little bit, as time went on, because he has a tendency to slow down. Finney does, especially as the more takedowns that happen. He just has a tendency to slow down a lot, just control the top, no punches. He's got to work on that. He's got to work on it. I just don't know what the issue was last night. Couldn't tell you.
Yeah, it is. And I don't want to railroad him too bad there, because it might have been, he tore the ligament or whatever it was. And he might have been injured going into that fight and just, it happened in the cage. Let insurance pay for the surgery. So I don't know. But watching it, not knowing every single thing, the camp and injury, whatever, it was insanely frustrating, because it's like, I understand that there is, the overarching like theme here of be exciting or the UFC will cut you.
Mm-hmm.
And while that does apply, and Torres Finny is objectively boring as hell, the difference between him and like a Grant Dawson, for example, who I've been railroading for years for being boring, is Torres Finny built up a fan base. Like Torres Finny is a thing. He's like memed himself, and he's become like, I don't know how to describe it, but he has built up a fan base by being this like short, jacked, compact, nonstop, boring wrestler. He was on the Contender Series 3 times. He is like one of the most famous people to come out of the Contender Series. And if he just stayed with that path, would his fights be exciting? No, but he would still somehow build a fan base and almost become famous for being a nonstop, relentless, boring wrestler. But then you mix it up to appease a few people, and all of a sudden, there goes the hype train. There goes the bandwagon. When you're undefeated and you're doing that stuff, and he's memeable because he's just so damn small, you can build off that. and now it's just like, all right, well, you lost. Your striking kind of stinks. If you go back to boring wrestler, now you're just boring. Like it's tough. And it might have just been the knee injury, but it is tough.
Yeah, I think that if he makes the adjustments in terms of, like I said, go back to the wrestling, go back to the grinding and you got to work on your ground and pound though. To me, it's okay to be boring as long as you start showing improvements on how vicious your ground and pound can be. I haven't seen that yet. We didn't see it at all last night because he couldn't get the takedown. I want to see what improvements he'll make between now, if he had to have knee surgery, whatever it is, what improvements he'll make between now and the next fight. And will we see a vastly improved fighter? I don't know if we will.
They might cut him. If
I don't
he
think so.
If he has a knee injury, well, and he has a knee injury, that would be like really messed up to cut him. Yeah. But I do think he's affordable, meaning I think he's just on a Contender Series contract. It's not like they're paying him $200,000. But like his actual fights have all been boring, including last night. The wins were boring. The loss was boring. Like, what are we doing? And you have a comment here from Ernie that says, I think his odd size made him a bit of a freak show fight where people want to see him hack the division. But that's exactly it. Like, there were people that wanted to see Torres Finny fight. For an undercard fighter who's a boring wrestler, there's a lot of buzz. A lot of people know his name. You could actually work with that and turn it into something. So you just kind of got to stick to being that guy. So it is it's an unfortunate situation, especially if a knee injury led to that. If what led to that was him being worried about the UFC's opinion, well, now you screwed yourself big time.
Yeah.
Another boring win is something we could talk about and build off of. Losing the way you lost is like, yikes.
Yeah. Rogan's always said, like, we shouldn't have stand-ups. If your guy gets taken down, the guy gets taken down. Like, it is what it is. Like, learn how to get up. And I was kind of against that for a while, but in these types of situations, yeah, it's not entertaining. I understand what you're saying, but this is a real, we're supposed to be the closest thing to a real fight. That's what MMA was built on. And if you can't get up, you can't get up, you know, but there's got to be some sort of movement though. You know, you can't just squeeze and hold. I mean, there's got to be some sort of ground and pound. You got to be looking to advance your position. I do like that rule set. Just in this situation, he didn't have anything last night. There was no answer.
No.
I was watching the Zayi fight and the Khan Ofli fight.
Ofli?
Yeah, Ofli. What was your take on that scorecard?
I picked Khan Ofli, and I felt pretty good about that in the first round. He won that first round. He looked good in the first round. He was clearly somehow the better wrestler, even though his wrestling's not very good, but his control is good. The scrambles are good. I thought he won the first round, looked good, but then obviously he faded, got dropped bad. You know, personally, I don't think the decision was correct. I think Yiza won that for Yiza. I think he won the fight. I don't think I see a lot of robbery. I don't think it was a robbery. Like Khan Ofli won that first round, had some good exchanges. Khan Ofli landed big a few times. Like, I don't think it was a robbery. I don't think it was atrocious. I would have scored it for Yiza though. If I'm a judge, I'm sitting there 29-28 Yiza.
Yeah, I would have done the same thing. 29-28. I definitely had it that way. The young kid, this Nakamura kid, he was getting his ass kicked by Zale for fucking 2 rounds. Yeah. And then decided all of a sudden, hey, I'm going to throw some punches in. Maybe I should throw some fucking punches, kicks, and some knees. And all of a sudden, good things happen. This was like, you see this all the time. You know, like Diego Lopez in the main event, you went from this is one of the first fights on the prelim to the kid not throwing shots and realizing like, hey, I'm about to lose this fight. I got to go out there and do it. Whereas in the main event, Diego didn't do that. Diego just kept doing what he was doing. And we ended up with, you know, the performance that he had in that fight. In this with Nakamura, like he lit something got lit under his ass coming out of the second round. He's like, fuck it. I got nothing to lose. Just throw. Landed some good shots, and the knee came up the middle, and Zale just walked right into a knee right to the chin. It was fucking nasty, but good for him. Good. I like to see young kids just throw caution to win. Fuck it. Yeah. What's going to happen? I got nothing to lose. I'm losing the fight already. An L is an L. No matter how, when you go back and you look at it on your resume, it still has an L next to your name when you lose that fight, whether you got knocked out, whether you got submitted, or whether it was a decision. An L is an L. So good that he could wrap his head around that and go out there and get it done. And that was pretty impressive because he looked like shit the first 2 rounds. He definitely didn't do anything. Just kind of hung around. And honestly, yes, he turned it on. He found the finish. But I thought Sebastian looked great. He looked, I'm watching that like, dude, this kid is good. Yeah. Like, holy crap. It's a real shit way to lose, but he's good. So I think you keep them both. What I do like, so I don't really care about the road to the UFC. I don't watch regional Asian tournaments, but it sounds like, and not knowing all of it, it sounds like you accumulate points like NASCAR, and based off how many points you accumulate by the end of the tournament, it affects your pay. So if you're finishing people, you get a bigger contract, not just a one-time, but an actual big. That's a sick concept. And they should turn the Contender Series into something like that. Wait, say it again. At least according to the broadcast, and I'm not from that part of the world and I don't watch it, so I could be way off. But according to the broadcast, they were saying that the road to the UFC guys fight multiple times in this tournament and they accumulate points. If you knock somebody out, you get X number of points. If you win a decision, you get X number of points. And the total accumulation of your points dictate your contract. So if you got a lot of finishes, you have a lot more points, you get paid more. I love that concept. That concept's really cool. Yeah, that's cool at the smaller, like at the lower level. That sucks when you get to the upper level. Like it would just like it's so hard to get a finish against. But that's what it is, though. It's the road to the UFC. It is. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah. That I do like that concept. It just reminds me a little bit of the PFL tournament style. You know, except you end up fighting the same guy after you just beat him in the first round of the playoffs. Was retarded. Angelo, how would you score UFC 325 in a 1 out of 10?
I
10 being the
enjoyed
best.
I enjoyed not a 10. I enjoyed the card. A lot of people didn't seem to enjoy it. And it was a little light. Like the first 3 fights are road to they weren't even UFC fights to the point where John Anik didn't announce them. They didn't bring them in till the 4th fight of the night because they're like, well, this isn't the UFC. I know you're watching UFC broadcast, but this isn't that. Then
I was wondering because it was Brendan that was calling the card.
Correct. Because they're not UFC fight. They're literally not UFC fights.
I wonder in his contract it says UFC. And he's been very adamant or very vocal about we do too many fights. And now you've got me calling fights that these guys are not even UFC fighters. They're trying to get into the UFC. He's like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I don't know if it was him or if it was like he didn't have the research, can't speak to it where others have been. I don't know why, but they literally didn't even have them. So if I'm looking at this fight card that had 13 fights, 3 of them are not even UFC fights, 10 of them are. We had a couple of mismatches. I do think it was fun. I think the main card to me was important. Seeing how good Quillen can be was important. The Tai Tuivasa fight was really fun. Probably the most fun heavyweight fight we've seen in a while. Mauricio Ruffy versus Fiziev, spectacular. Benoit Saint-Denis, Dan Hooker. The main event, I actually don't think was very fun, but it was tense and it was interesting. So I don't know. I'd give it a 6.5. Like it wasn't awful, and I was entertained, but I mean, there was really only 10 fights.
Yeah. You know what? Look, I've sat on that side where I'm not in John Anik's position, but been cage side for calling fights. Bellator used to do like fucking 18 to 20 fights sometimes. Yeah. And by the time you get to the main card, you're fucking exhausted. The energy level is just out of you. You're like, man, it's hard to get up for these, these last 5 fights on the main card, even though these are the best fights. And we just couldn't walk it back. We stayed with the whole 18, 16, 20 fights. And a lot of us were like, why are we even calling these first fights? But then again, it was our job. I wasn't going to complain because I was getting paid really well. So in this situation, I think Anik's like, look, he brings the intensity. And to do John Anik's job, people don't realize, like when it's just me doing the color next to him, or Big John or Joe or DC, you're watching and just saying and talking about what's going on, and you're talking through the techniques. Anik has to carry that when there's nothing to talk about. He's the guy that is, doing the commercial reads. He's the guy that's giving you, the input on, oh yeah, so-and-so's been arrested and had the child abuse and lost his kid. Like he's that guy because he had done something like that from before. But he's the guy that's got to give you the insight on a fighter you've never heard of. And he's got to have all that written down in his notes. And he's got to present that in the moments where the fight lags. So it's very difficult, very stressful. He's got to carry the conversation when Joe and when DC and when other guys are not saying much. He's got to jump in there and say something to keep it going. So it's not an easy job to do what they do. I give those guys nothing but love and respect, man. It's very difficult. So I would do the same thing. I give it about a 6.5, 7. I was expecting more. Look, even though the fights there was a couple good finishes, like the Ruffy fight, the finish, I don't know, for something just lacked. It was the energy. I don't know what it was. Something lacked in the card. I just didn't get that same, like this is real intense. Like there was a lot on the line. I didn't get that feeling of like that we were making history last night. It was like, yeah, okay, another fight. Do you think maybe it's because we're not paying $80?
No, I don't think it's that, because I think the most excited I got on this card was for the Ruffy Fiziev fight. And I got very excited. I was like, oh, here we go. Like, this is going to be good. Yeah. So I don't think it's that. I just think the main event, there was kind of a staring contest for a good amount of it. So it's like, you didn't leave it with like, oh my God, because it didn't feel that way last week. Last week they got after it. So you left, it felt huge. So no, it doesn't. No. The answer is no. I've answered your question. No.
All right, guys. Well, hey, if you guys enjoyed this show, go ahead and leave us a comment down below. And also, too, give us your ideas on what you thought of our picks on who's next for those fighters that we matched up throughout the fight. Did you like those ideas? If you like better ideas, go ahead and drop them in the comments. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for our live. We'll be doing these lives on Sunday mornings. Hopefully, it works for you guys' schedule. This is the better. It actually works better for the two of us to get it pumped out right away.
Yeah, it's easy to now. I have the rest of the day to live.
Yep, we can enjoy. We could probably even meet up and have some cocktails.
I got volleyball today.
Ange needs a little break after volleyball. I've got lacrosse later today. Hey guys, thank you guys so much. And until next time, man, we will see you.